All right. You guys hear me? All right. Can you guys hear me? Yes. There you go. All right. I don't have to do a clinic with you on raising hands or being loud. So my name is Steli. There you go. I have a clicker. And I truly believe that appreciation is the currency you pay the universe with. So with that being said, I want to say thank you to all of you for showing up. Thank you for the organizers of Innovation Lab and for putting all this fucking thing together. Thanks for having me. We'll see if you're going to be sorry at the end of it. All right, so first of all, who does not know who the fuck I am? Raise your hand, be proud. There you go. She was like the proudest. I've never heard of you. I promise. All right, that's awesome. That's a little bit of like the motivational kick that I need to get started on stage. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Steli Efti. I'm originally Greek, born and raised in Germany. So I'm trying to build bridges when it comes to Europe. And 8 years ago, I fucked off to Silicon Valley to build my first technology company there, which was a humongous failure. And after 5 years, I did another startup, which has, through twists and turns, turned out to be quite successful today. So the things that I typically talk about have to do with sales. And I'll tell you, sales and entrepreneurship, and I'll tell you why those areas are things that I deeply care about and why I think I know a thing or two about them. So I was running a company a few years ago called Elastic Sales. And Elastic Sales, what we did is we built this secret sales lab in the heart of Silicon Valley, and we were doing outsourced sales for some of the best SaaS businesses in Silicon Valley. We did sales for over 200 venture-backed companies in total. And for a while, we were the best kept secret of Silicon Valley. We talked to all SaaS businesses you can ever imagine. We knew all the tricks, all the technologies they were using, the methodologies, what worked, what didn't work. And in the process, we built an internal piece of software called Close.io, which helped our salespeople outperform other salespeople. So eventually that software got so good that we decided to release it. And it grew so fast that we, at some point, decided that needs to be the focus of the entire company. And today we have thousands of customers around the world, and we help teams, usually startup teams, that do a lot of inside sales, which means you close deals by calling and emailing predominantly. You communicate a lot to close customers. We help them crush it in sales. The team that we have is very small and somewhat Polish. Yes, you heard right. So here's the deal. So this is the entire company. We have had one addition. We probably are making another offer today. So we're probably going to be 9 people by the end of today. We are by a factor of 10 smaller than our nearest competitor. We're crushing them in revenue. We are highly profitable. And we have the pleasure of saying no to venture capitalists every single day because we do need their money. But coming back to the Polish part, don't get too excited yet. So you see this handsome fellow. This is one of my co-founders, Thomas Steinacher. He's half Swiss and half Polish. And the handsome gentleman next to him, the only person that looks like he's happy, it's Stefan, and he's fully Polish because he's his cousin. Yes, one person, thank you. All right, so, and he's from Krakow, from all places. Yes, give it up. So the funny thing is Thomas had almost never met his cousin before we hired him. So my secret hope today is we're gonna find another cousin that we can fucking hire. Because we are hiring. So if you're an engineer, if you're in support, if you're in sales, or in marketing, or in anything else, and you're a baller or a hustler, send me an email, steli@close.io, or come and talk to me, we might wanna hire you. All right, so let me move on. So here's the thing. One side note, because you guys are all in SaaS, this is a fucking SaaS meetup. You might know the handsome guy on the right, which is Heaton Shah. He's one of the co-founders of Kissmetrics. He's an amazing guy. We unofficially launched a podcast. If you go to thestartupchat.com, you can subscribe to it before we officially launch it next week. So this is an exclusive announcement. The other thing that I brought as a quick tidbit is I wrote 2 books. The Ultimate Startup Guide to Inbound Sales and the Ultimate Startup Guide to Outbound Sales, and then we combined it because we know how to remix and repurpose content. And we have the ultimate Startup Guide to Sales, which is basically the combination of those two books. If you want the digital/Kindle version for fucking free, those are each $19. Send me an email at steli@close.io and you might or might not get one, depending on how I feel that moment. All right, so I don't just launch companies, I also do launch babies. This is my oldest baby boy, Georges. 3 years ago, we launched Leonidas 1 year ago. They have nothing to do with SaaS, I just like to brag. All right, so coming to the actual content of the pitch. So I got 99 problems, but too many successful customers, A1. So when I was thinking about what to do, I've been on a tour through Europe for the last 6 weeks. I've been speaking on conferences every fucking week. So I was like, what do I want to talk about tomorrow? I was like, you know what? I really like the format of the event today. I like that there's going to be a lot of practical shit. And Chris was like, you're a keynote speaker, but keynote speakers ain't shit in this event. Really? This is about the people. The audience is more important than you. And I was like, that's a cool concept. So, you know, instead of me trying to mind read what you guys want, why not just make this a Q&A and I'll just answer whatever the fuck you want to hear. And then somebody that shall remain nameless said, well, this is a Polish audience. They'll never ask questions for the entire time. You can fucking forget that. Now, I know that you, Bartosz, are a strong exception. So we'll take you out of this equation. Your questions will not count like everybody else. But no. Of course, you'll come later. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you a short story. And I told Chris, if I tell this story and there's not at least 20 people raising their arms, I'd be very surprised. So even if you don't have a question, just raise your arm, right? So we can tell Chris to fuck off. All right, so a few weeks ago, I'm at a conference. And I give this whole talk about like being outside your comfort zone and how the only way to do anything worthwhile is to do things that are uncomfortable for you. And I give this whole spiel about overcoming your fears and all that bullshit. And eventually, I'm like, all right, so who has the first question? And Hazal raises her hand and is like, I have the first question. So she's in the audience. And her first question is, what are you uncomfortable with doing, right? What are you currently afraid of doing? So I was like, oh, that's a dope question. So I answer that question, and she asked another really fucking excellent question. I'm like, this girl is good. Somebody needs to hire this person. Like, she's the smartest person here. The next speaker comes on stage. Hazal again raises her hand and asks a dope question. And that speaker's like, that girl is amazing. And for the entire rest of the conference, she was fucking killing it with the best questions we had. At the end of the conference, all speakers go to her. We all want to be her friends. You know, we're all like, who are you? Can you work for me? Can I work for you? The next day, there's a VIP reception only of speakers, and Hazal in the middle, fucking rocking it with the speakers. And a few days later, I get an email from her. And she tells me, she's like, Steli, when I was sitting in the audience and you said you need to do things you're uncomfortable with, I asked myself, what am I the most uncomfortable with? And I thought, I've never asked a question in a conference. I don't like attention. So I thought, all right, let me ask a question. And then I asked the question and you were like so excited, so I asked another question. And then everybody was thinking I'm awesome, so I asked another question. And then in the breaks, people would come to shake my hand. She's like, nobody ever comes to speak to me. Nobody. And I was like fucking loving it. I made friends. I became like I got some mentors. I was like the star of this fucking conference. This shit of going outside your comfort zone is fucking amazing. I want more of it. So with that being said, here's the first question. Come on, guys, don't let me hang here. No. I want one more. Come on, you must have some questions. Say it. No, there you go. Oh, you also asked a question. I need a new question. Come on, people, help me out here. There you go, in the back row. Round of applause, give up to, I don't know what your name is yet, but what's your question?
Yeah, my question.
Here. Oh, the mic.
Hey, my name is Wojtek. And
nice to meet you.
My question is, did you guys did sales outsourcing for Kissmetrics?
No, when Kissmetrics reached out to us to do outsourced sales for them and for Crazy Egg, we had already phased out of that and we told them no, which was part of why Heaton liked me. It's because he could not get me to work for him. Thanks for the question. All right, next question. Now I'll ignore you for a little bit. I want to give other people a chance to ask a question. Next question. Sales, marketing, yes, all right.
Where is the hustle from?
Where is the hustle from? Oh, she's from Vienna, Austria. So you should follow her on Twitter, for sure. All right, he's the smartest person in the room. He's like, I need to hire that girl. It's like, let's fucking just get to the point. All right, any other questions? I'm sure you've come here with questions. There you go.
You go next, sir, Mike.
Tell me a little bit more about close-IO, please.
Oh, yeah, I paid him money for this question. Please give me your sales pitch. So close-IO, we don't like to describe it in traditional terms, which would be CRM, a customer relationship management tool. But you could think of it as a CRM that's simple, that's powerful, that's very fast, and focused on communication. So you can call and get calls right out of the system. You can do email, receive and send email right out of the system. And what makes close.io really the best tool out there is that we've optimized the fuck out of it. So it's really fucking amazing if you do lots of calls, lots of emails. And we empower you to answer questions that no other CRM could ever help you answer. Like in close.io, I'll give you an example. You could easily go and say, show me all leads that I'm working on that have an active opportunity. And the last thing that happened is that longer than 2 weeks ago, they received an email from me, they opened it, they've never replied, and I had at least 2 calls that were at least 10 minutes long. Right? We'll give you a list. You can either call through that list or you write one email and send it to everybody. You can do a lot of magical shit in close.io because there's no organization that's done more inside sales for more different startups than us. Right? Nobody has ever done sales for 200 different companies during the same time, all SaaS businesses. So we built a pretty strong vision of what good sales software is like. But just like Lincoln said, we learned early on to make very hard choices. So one fun fact is we don't have a mobile app. And people every day are like, oh my God, how can you not have I need a mobile app. And we're like, well, we also like to have a mobile app eventually, but our tool is an inside sales tool. So we've made it the best fucking inside sales tool. And by definition, when you're outside, you have to check. You can check some lead information on close.io, but we've not optimized on being amazing at mobile. Although it's kind of hip, and although people ask us for it, we've been able to be insanely profitable, growing at the top 10, top 5% of all SaaS businesses, although we're much smaller than most of our competitors, because the things we do, even if we don't do everything, the things we do really well. So if you call or email your customers, you want to check out close.io for sure. Thank you, I'll pay you later. All right, yes, Damien.
Former customer.
Sure, sorry, I'm Mike now. I'll ask a question.
There you go. Now we're getting into the fighting of the mic. That's the right energy that I need.
So look, about inside sales, there are lots of startups here who I'm sure are interested in doing this. So what's your absolute top do's and don'ts for inside sales?
So that's a great question. So top do's and don'ts for inside sales. I don't know. I mean, do's is do it, right? Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just do a bunch of shit and see what happens. The way that I would think about inside sales, just like outside sales, any sales-related activities, you want to track a few very simple things, right? You want to track the activity level at which you're operating. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we do a lot of calls. We call all our inbound leads, right? So what I would track if I were you, if I want to call inbound leads, is I would track how many dials do we make a day, how many of these leads are we trying to reach, what is our reach rate, which is an insane metric almost nobody tracks. When you do make calls, reach rate is, I dialed the number, but I listened to dial tones, voicemails, I talked to a secretary. All these things are wasted time in one way or another. So reach rate means when did I truly connect with somebody that I was even able to have a conversation with, a meaningful conversation with. You need to track your reach rate, right? So you track your activity, how many dials do we make? You track your reach rate, how many people do we really reach while making all these dials? Then you track what is the qualifying rate, how many of these people were we able to qualify, meaning we can help them, they can help us, they should buy our product, and then what's our closing rate? Right? So a simplified way of thinking of this framework is you track activity, you track the quality of your activity, and then you track your conversion. If you know these 3 things, you know where your problems are. For most companies, when they do inside sales, you know what the biggest problem is? Reach rate. But you know what the number one thing is that most companies do when they do inside sales? What they optimize? Closing rate. Right? So you're like, we're calling 100 people a day, but we're only closing 1. Let's train us to do better at closing. Well, motherfucker, if you only reach 2 people, right? I mean, the training on closing will really not get you that far, right? So how about looking at the reach rate? And most reach rates are painfully low. If you do outbound sales, if you do cold calls, and your reach rate is below 10%, you're dead in the water. You have already died. Your campaign is already not working. It doesn't matter what the conversions look afterwards. So you want to figure out ways to reach more people, because the top of the funnel, if you make a little difference there, it's going to make a significant impact for all the rest of the funnel versus trying to optimize at the end of it, which is what most companies do, right? So when you do inside sales, track a few simple things. What's our activity? What's the quality of activity? What's our conversion? And then look at where the problem is and fix that problem, starting at the top of the funnel versus at the end. That's really it. And then there's a million other tactics and ideas and things like that. One good thing for reach rate, if you do call your inbound leads, which is what we do, all incoming leads, all trial signups, or most of them we call, is to call within 5 minutes of sign up. Your reach rate is going to go up 100%. There's actual research on this. If you call a trial sign up within 5 minutes of signing up versus calling them an hour later or a day later. Why? They just signed up. They're in front of the fucking computer or laptop. They know what you're doing. More likely they're not in a meeting or they're not swimming outside right now, right? So there's all these things you know about them. So if you call them right away and in a very automated fashion, you're going to reach a significant amount of people versus you call 1 hour later, you're going to go from reaching, maybe 30, 40% down to 5 or 10. And that's significant. Like, you can't fix that by doing better at sales. There's no way to do that in doing better at sales. All right, other questions?
Yes, Steve. What's the most crazy successful thing you've done to motivate your team? Like an event or trip or something like that, or general technique?
That's a good question. So what's the number one thing I've done to motivate my team? So we're doing a lot, right? And there's a lot of fun shit you do to make everybody happy. You can have competitions and shit like that. Salespeople are really motivated by that. I think the number one thing you need to do to motivate your sales team, the thing that had the biggest impact, there's two things. Number one is you have to demonstrate. So no matter how amazing I am at presenting about sales, people want to see me on a sales call once in a while. My people want to see me on a sales call. Usually they want to see me on difficult sales calls. So every time they really struggle, they bring me in. And then it's always kind of like you can feel the excitement. People are like, here's a person that said he's going to kill my mother. Go, Steli. All right, let's see how you're going to handle this. And the funny thing is, I thrive on that, so this is more fun to me than the easy one. So I'm going to do some cool shit. I have a good time on the phone. At the end of the day, we invite our moms to dinner. We make peace, whatever it is. And people are really motivated. But even more importantly, if you want to go even a step beyond that, so if you're a founder, you should make some sales calls. Right? Every day potentially with your sales team. Nothing's going to be more motivating for them than to see that you're there with them in the trenches doing the same shit they are doing. Another thing that you can do that's very, very scary is to fail publicly in front of your team. Some of the most motivating moments I felt for my team and I saw in terms of the spike of performance was me failing in front of them, trying to negotiate a deal, losing that deal, because I pushed too far or I did something, I didn't get the deal, and then demonstrating to them that failure is okay and I can deal with it, and I'm picking up the phone and I call the next person. I'm not hiding, I'm not running, I'm not depressed, I'm not overplaying, I'm not excusing, I'm not explaining it away. I'm not like, I'm not trying to do anything for me. I just say, see, this is where I fucked up, here's why I fucked up, let's make the next call together. That's the single most motivating thing for my people in terms of just them snapping into action, the way they deal with failure, the way they show up the next day. Nothing is more powerful than demonstrating failure is okay. Everybody says failure is okay, especially once you're successful. Once you're really successful, you're out there every day, you're failure is the easiest thing, failure is important, everybody should fail because I got it behind me. Right? I'm done with that failing shit. Now I'm just succeeding. So I'm going to be telling you how to fail. But if you're really important, successful at the top of your organization and you demonstrate you're failing in front of people, it's highly motivating for them. Next question. Yes?
What are the most successful sales channels at Flows.io?
Yes, that's a great question. So what are the most successful sales channels for us? All our growth is inbound, which is kind of funny because for Elastic Sales, we did outbound sales for over 200 venture-backed startups. I'm like a known expert for outbound sales. For Closeout, when we started teaching people what we knew about sales through content marketing, and through that we got a lot of leads. And we said, you know what? We're getting so many leads, let's just focus on optimizing the inbound sales funnel, and we'll get to outbound sales later. This is 2.5 years ago, and we're still like, you know, this is working so well, let's get to outbound sales later. Right? Once you have something that works, once you have that nail that fucking works, you just hammer that nail until that motherfucker is not anymore. Like, the problem of most startups is they try to do too many things. We suck at SEM and SEO because we're not interested in it. We suck at so many things. We do literally nothing else in marketing other than content marketing. But in content marketing, I believe we're the best content when it comes to startup sales, maybe sales in general on the web today. I truly believe that. And the cool thing is that there's a huge number of people that read our content and then eventually become customers, but a significant amount of the customers of our competitors are reading our blog, are reading our content every single month. And as our product gets better, as our business becomes bigger, eventually we're going to get them sooner or later. So content marketing is the driver of our growth. Of course, we've optimized the fuck out of once somebody signs up, they get a sales call, they get a million emails that are really good with this whole funnel that's really optimized in turning every inbound lead into a customer. But content marketing is the driver of the traffic and our marketing driver.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, my question was going to be about the inbound leads. And
Yes.
now that you said that you are doing content marketing, and where does this content marketing stand in the sales marketing funnel? How do they deliver to sales, to the leads? How do you guys get the inbound leads out of it?
People sign up for a free trial. We have a 40-day free trial, and then there's a contact form. There's like a few channels that somebody can become a lead, give us some information about them because they want something back. And that moment, they are pumped into closeout and they become part of our sales funnel.
Does that
My
answer?
question was more like you guys also doing some content marketing efforts, right? And you said that it works really well.
Yeah.
So how do those guys actually deliver those leads to the sales? Those guys are one. For example, you guys have ebook or you have some webinar that you're capturing your leads out of there.
Yeah. We do have webinars. We do have ebooks. We do have a bunch of ways, but the main driver is that most of the people that sign up for a trial of the product, most of them have interacted with our content for over 6 months. 6 months. Yes. So if you only look at our conversion rate of signed up trial to becoming customer, it's insanely high. It's insanely high. But it's because these people are insanely qualified already. Right? They've been reading our shit, they've become fan of ours, we help them close a deal, we'll help them with their business, and eventually they go, either they have a problem with their current CRM and they go, I better fucking try out Close.io, or they're like, now we have enough sales, enough success, we need a CRM, and they're like, well, I'm gonna try out Close.io first, right? That's really it, and our content is not just marketing, our content is an invisible salesperson. Because a lot of our customers have decided they're going to buy from us before they ever use the product. Because they are like, these people know more about sales than anyone else. Look at that smile. And he's like, and I want to buy software from people that know most about sales. All right, now finally you can ask the question.
So we are scaling up our sales team, our
Yes.
sales team, and I'd like to know, based on your experience, how to find and qualify a good salesperson.
Yes, that's a great question. So his question is how do you find great salespeople? So I'll give you the answer that I would have given up until yesterday, and then I'll give you the new that I find funnier and better that I would give today. This morning, I had a guy send me an email. If you're Facebook friends with me, if you're not, you should be. But if you are, you'll see it. It was the latest thing I posted. There was a guy sending me an email, and he's like, Steli, thank you so much for everything I learned from you. And the best thing about it is I have this new hiring hack for salespeople. I'll tell you briefly how it works. It works like this. A candidate comes in and I say, hi, have you heard of Steli? Have you followed his work? And have you used Close.io? When they say no, goodbye. I was like, that's pretty dope. All right, but the honest answer, this is just for my ego. The honest answer is that I truly believe that there's no way to know if somebody's going to be good at sales just purely on an interview. It's impossible. It's like saying, what question can I ask a basketball player to know if he's going to be an NBA star? I don't fucking know. Do you like basketball? I mean, yeah, of course you can ask some question about their culture and blah, 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 this and that. But at the end of the day, sales is a full contact sport. It's a performance art. And you need people that can perform every single day. So the thing that I would do, the way we hire salespeople is, you have to sell me. The very first day, you have to do some fucking sales. We, back at Elastic Days, would have candidates stand in front of the entire fucking team and do some cold calls, right? And then, my last piece of advice, never think you hired an amazing salesperson. Just never think that. You know, I will allow myself to say I made an amazing hire in sales after 3 to 6 months. No matter how incredible people are in their first week or second, what makes somebody great at sales is consistency. Can they bring it every fucking day, no matter how they feel, no matter how great or bad the last day was? Can they really bring it every fucking day? That's when they're great. So you don't know until you have a little bit of time to figure that out. One quick follow-up question, and then we're going to get to the next one.
How do you search for them?
Oh, that's a good question. The way I hire salespeople is by not hiring salespeople. So I don't hire people with prior sales experience because I like to train people to be the type of salesperson I want them to be, which is the unicorn salesperson, right? So the way I do it is that every time we hire somebody new, here's the process that we do. We say, hey, awesome that you're part of the team, blah, 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 this and that. Who is the most insanely talented person you know that would never consider working here? And then I call that person. And here's what I say. I say, hey, Bob, you know, I just hired John, and John said you're the most talented, the smartest, the most amazing person he knows. He also says there's no way you would ever consider working here because you just started your MBA at Harvard, or you just whatever, got a new CEO position at this big company. So I'm not even going to try to hire you. I just want to fucking get to know you. You're so amazing. Let's chat. That's how most of the people I hired, that's the conversation that we started with. Yeah, and then what you do is you make small incremental steps. You go at the end of the first call, if it was really good, you're like, you're so amazing, come by the office and hang out and brainstorm with us. They come out and brainstorm, you're like, this was so much fun, we should do this again. And then at some point it's like, there's something here between us, this chemistry, maybe we could do this small steps, because most people that work for me in sales, they never thought about themselves as salespeople, right? And they didn't grow up thinking I want to be in sales. So they need to fall in love with the company, with the culture, and then eventually go, you know what, sales is amazing, I love it. And then we hire them. So just look for amazing people and leave the paradigm of just looking for salespeople, because then what you get is people in sales that are typically bad because they're looking for a job. All right, next question.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
You mentioned about consistency, so
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you if you could share some tips about following up. And when do you know that you should stop following up? Because, you know, it's not going anywhere. After 5 emails, somebody not responding to you.
Yeah, so it depends. So that's a great question. How and when do I follow up, and when do I need to know that it's over? So my advice on follow-up is probably the highest ROI advice you're going to get today, just based on the amount of people that email me every day and tell me exactly the revenue, the funding, the press, or something else they gotten by following my follow-up advice. So here's my general advice on follow-up. You never, ever, 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 ever stop following up. End of it, right? That's the end of the story. Now, if you just do that, you're gonna crush it in life, because winning happens in the follow-up, because that's a race you're running alone. Nobody's running with you. Lots of people are showing up to things. Almost nobody follows up. Now, let me be a little bit more nuanced on this answer, right? So let's divide the world between cold outreach and warm one, right? So if we had a positive interaction, we had a good conversation, if I had a demo of my product, if we had a meeting, and you show interest and then I don't hear from you, I will follow up indefinitely, forever. I really will. One of our investors who's a billionaire, I follow up 48 times. 48 times. Here's what happened. We got an introduction through an investor. That guy, billionaire, guy that built a product you all have used, replies and says, yes, I want to meet. I'm like fucking peeing in my pants. I reply to that email. When can we meet? Monday, Tuesday, this or that time. Don't hear anything. Follow up. Don't hear anything. Follow up. Don't hear anything. 48 follow-ups. You know what his reply was? Steli, thank you so much for following up. I had a crisis overseas, blah, blah, blah. This and this happened. Can you come tomorrow at 1 p.m. to my office? I did, and he invested. Now, there's a few rules. We'll first doing warm, right? There's a few rules in warm follow-up. First of all, there's different intensities of following up. Email is the lowest in which you could do the most of, right? Because it's the least intrusive. People can ignore it at their own choosing. Calling, you can't do 1 million or 48 follow-up calls. You can't do 48 voicemails without getting to some level of trouble. And the highest is showing up in person. You know how many big deals were saved in the very last moment by somebody buying a fucking plane ticket, flying somewhere, and then just being in the area and dropping by the office? I can tell you 20 stories of people closing a massive deal after the day before they were told, no, we're going with your competition, but just showing up at the fucking office going, you know, I had another meeting and I thought I'd drop by and say hi. So, of course, you can't do that 48 days in a row, right, without getting into jail. But, so you have to think about the intensity level. The other thing is, with warm follow-up, you need to make sure that you are sweet, short, to the point, and you're not annoying or you're not needy. A lot of people that follow up, in their third follow-up email, they start complaining. Steli, why haven't you answered me? This is not cool. I thought you were a cool guy watching your talk, but now I know you. Do you think you're something better? I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Give me a break. This was 4 hours ago you emailed me. Right? Some people are incredibly needy. If you're needy, if you make me feel bad, I will never answer your email. Don't make me feel bad. You know what the 47th email sounded like from me? Hey, brah, another beautiful day in paradise. Hope you're doing well. Here's some good news about our company from last week. Can you meet this Wednesday? The email next. Hey, brah, another beautiful day in paradise. Here's some cool thing. We hired these 3 people. Can we meet this Thursday or Friday? Every fucking email was like that. There's people that are creative. I wrote about this. Go to blog.close.io, search for funny follow-up. There's a guy that is like a Cookie Monster GIF. When he emails you a bunch of times, you don't hear back from you. There's just a GIF. It's a Cookie Monster waiting. You know, and the next email is another GIF of like a fucking, what's it called? It's like a deserted city, and you have like these haystack that's just going, and all kinds of like funny things to make people laugh and then reply. There's a bunch of tactics. But the main philosophy needs to be you never stop. Now when you do cold, if I email you, I don't know you. We never talked. I personally don't think that I can email you forever. I might, but it's not my thing, right? So in those cases, I think you can follow up like 4, 5, 6 times, whatever your personal preference is. Somebody told me once he did studies and research and it's 8 emails. I did not check that research, so I can't really verify it. But I know that at some point you have to stop, especially when you do it with many, many people. Here's a hack that I'm going to teach you. It's called the breakup email. When you follow up with somebody multiple times, especially when you do it automated, and you want to really do one last email that's going to hit, you break up with them. Here's the format, and if you send me an email, steli@close.io, I'll share you the template. HubSpot is using it. Trunk Club is using, some of the best SaaS businesses are using this email very effectively. The subject line says, goodbye from Steli. And you open that email and it basically says, hey Bob, you know, I've tried to call you or email you blah, blah, blah number of times, 20 times. At this point I have to assume that right now is not the right time for you. That's totally cool. Here's all my contact data, but what's going to happen next is I'm taking you off my list and I will never contact you again. If you need something from me, you can always find me. I'd be happy to. That email, if you look at all the emails they sent before that email makes a massive spike. The open and the reply rates of that email is insanity. Insanity. It's one of the most effective email templates you can follow. Take it away from people and they'll run after you. No, I just didn't have time. I've done that myself. The way I discovered this email is that I ignored 20 emails from HubSpot until they broke up, and I replied, no, I am interested, I just didn't have time. And then the same fucking thing happened with Trunk Club, which is like a subscription fashion service for men. Send me a bunch of emails, I ignored everything until all right, goodbye, we're taking you off our list. No, I am interested. And I was like, oh shit, that email is awesome. All right, so that's a little bit of my framework on follow-up. All right, next question.
Right, and that will be the last one.
Yes. No, you can't tell us when the last one is. What are you going to do?
That's going to be the last one.
You going to throw me out of this place?
I would like to ask you what advice or event changed your life as a salesperson?
What advice on?
Or event, maybe.
Has changed. All right, I'll give you an example of what has changed me as a salesperson. The most powerful sales interaction I've ever had as a customer. All right. So this is back in Germany. I'm like 20 years old. I've been running a business for a little while. I'm making real money now, and I want to spend a lot of money on suits and shit because I thought that's important, right? So I go into this store, and I'm a man. I'm not very comfortable shopping. I don't want a consultation. I don't want to talk to you. Just want to go in, buy something, fuck off again. So this older gentleman, bold, and he spots me and he approaches me very elegantly, and I already do the like, no, I'm just looking, don't talk to me. And he's charming and funny, and he, keeps his distance, but always throws some knowledge at me. And eventually, he chit-chats me up, and eventually, 30 minutes later, I'm at the fucking counter with a million fucking things. And he rings me up, and it's like, I don't know, 2,000 euros or something worth of fucking ties and shirts or something, right? So I'm like, all right, cool, it's a bit more than I wanted, but I'm a baller now, I have money, I'll spend it, that's all good. So I put it in my pocket, there's like a line behind me, and I realize I forgot my wallet. So I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, he's gonna think like, look at this, he doesn't have enough money for the fucking stuff, so he's now doing the, oh, I forgot my wallet, I need to fuck off. So I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot my wallet, can you put these things aside and I will come back later and then I'll try to buy. And he's like, no, I can't do that. And I'm like, I'm red in the face, I'm, holy shit, I look back, there's people looking at me, like, oh my fucking God, I thought I'm a baller, I'm so cool, I'm not cool. And he's like, I'm not gonna put these things aside for you. These are your things, you're taking them with you. Come whenever you can, today, tomorrow, next week, and pay when you can. And I was like, are there cameras? Is this guy joking? I'm like, are you for real? He's like, of course. It's an insult. This is your things. We selected them together. You take them. And I take the bag, and I go backwards slowly. Just open the door, do this, the test, there's police or something. And I leave. And here's what happened next. I tell you something. If he had put the stuff aside, here's what would have happened next. I would have driven to work, and I would have never returned to that place. Because I was ashamed. And I hate shopping. It took me 6 months to get the energy to go shopping in the first place. So I've never returned to that place. Here's what happened because of what he did. I walked into my car, I called my next 3 appointments, I canceled all of them, I drove fucking home, I picked up my wallet, drove directly back to that store, and I paid. It's the first thing I did. And here's what happened next. I spent about 2,000 to 3,000 euros every fucking month in that place. As long as I lived there, every fucking month. I just walked in and it was, dude, show me what I should wear. And he just selected that shit, here's I'm paying for it. And what I learned is that at the end of it, I don't remember his name, I don't remember the fucking ties or shirts I bought, and I don't care about them, but what I do remember is how he made me feel. At the end of the day, if you're in sales, you have the power to make somebody feel something special, either by trusting them, by treating them well, or by helping them accomplish something they could not accomplish without you. And that is gonna stay with them forever. This is a story that's like fucking 15 years old, and I still tell it on stage all the time. So it's definitely the most impactful buying experience I've ever had in my life.
All right, thank you, Steli.
Thanks, guys.